Welcome back to the Playing with Power podcast. I am today's host, Decktechs, and today we are covering what commanders we think can be CEDH out of the Final Fantasy set. But we aren't just speculating. I have played 10 games on every single one of these commanders we are talking about today, and have Decktechs available in the descriptions below if you see something that catches your eye. So let's get down to business. This set is a banger. I don't believe I can name a set outside of Commander Legends where we have received this many commanders at once that are CEDH viable. Some that are making such a kerfuffle, we're talking about the concept of them being tier 1. And a specific commander that we'll talk about that some people are comparing to Nadu. I wouldn't go that far. But having played a bunch of these decks, I believe they are very exciting, very worthwhile trying out, and many present many unique angles being added to CEDH, especially during a flash meta. And no, not the original flash meta, bye-bye. The idea that most of us are attempting our wins at flash speed over others, and these commanders enable that in very unique and very cool ways. I'm very impressed with Wizards of the Coast's design potential for a set that is meant for standard, and we're still getting cards that are so awesome for our format. Let's jump into it. Without burying the lead, let's talk about VIVI. VIVI Ornitier is 1 colorless, blue and a red. He is a legendary creature wizard, mythic. For 0 mana, activate. Add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is VIVI Ornitier's power. Activate only during your turn and only once each turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on VIVI Ornitier, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. He starts out as a 0/3. VIVI is bursting onto the scene as the new best is it commander, in my opinion. Not needing to have haste and being able to activate immediately is an insanely important thing for commanders. There's a reason commanders that have to attack to activate and don't have haste are so behind in a meta like this. It's way too slow. VIVI is an exceptional value engine with high impact spells behind it. It enables many 1-card combos, it synergizes powerful with extra turn spells, and it makes Curiosity into a genuine win con. VIVI presents a myriad of new combos and is easily the best storm commander that I can think of. I have extensively tested this deck. I have over 20 games logged on it, and I have won every single game where Curiosity has resolved. Out of my 20 games, 12 of them I had a Curiosity resolve. Obviously, this is a huge portion of Brewer's advantage. Once this character is known more often and this commander is seen as more of the threat that it is, it will be removed more often, and I believe we're going to see a little bit of a Winota effect. If you're not familiar, when Winota came out, it was stomping through tournaments and winning majors. Then people realized, oh, all we have to do is kill it, and everyone began to run Swords to Plowshares. VIVI will absolutely receive this treatment. It will come out of the gate winning so many tournaments, it's going to topple towers, and not enough people are going to respect the fact that giving this a single turn cycle is way too much. God forbid someone land a Curiosity effect, there's nothing you can do after that. I had games where I would jam a breach, it would get countered, I would be able to still go for it because the Curiosity effect that I had on it was drawing me such immense cards. I was able to pull together a win so easily. There's so many interesting tech cards to go with this, such as Haze of Rage, Dragon Storm for those who want the bigger mid-range version of this deck. And oh, did we mention that you can run it as a complete control commander that's constantly making value for itself? VIVI, in my opinion, is it Kennen on crack. The only thing about VIVI is it itself is not the mana sink. You are not going to be able to win with infinite mana with VIVI, and that is where a lot of pilots currently fall into a hole. I am not running some of the 1-card infinite mana combos in this deck because that's not what you need to win. This deck is attempting to storm. You need the ability to churn through the deck, and that infinite mana can only get you so far. Often it's a win more card. Many times when I see people playing with Quicksilver Elemental to go infinite with VIVI, they could have won without it. I have not seen currently a time and place where going infinite mana with VIVI is what won you the game. It's normally the draw effect that actually wins you the game, and you could have done the full line without it. If you're ready to try Storm and Spell Slinging, VIVI is the perfect time. I believe in my heart of hearts there is a very slim chance that, as they said in the last Commander update, this may receive the Nadu treatment. I believe this is going to be so upendingly powerful that Casual pods may see this as an annoyance and they may start looking at this. I think it is an extremely slim chance this happens, but I would like to say I told you so if it does. The last thing to say about this is funny enough not a Displacer Kitten deck. Yes, it would reset the ability of VIVI if you do Blink VIVI, but it would also remove the +1/+1 counters. Many people on the VIVI Discord have been talking about the fact that maybe you should run Ozolith. If you run the Ozolith with Displacer Kitten with VIVI, that is actually some cool potential. But again, it runs into the problem that I see of just making mana. It's not storming through the deck. The deck definitely has 3 variations of control, mid-range, and storm. I would not consider it turbo, more set up correctly than storm off. And if you're interested in either of those 3 playstyles, please start trying out this deck. It needs pilots that want to dedicate to it for sure. Our next commander is Terra, Magical Adept. She costs 1 colorless, red-green. Terra is a legendary creature, human wizard warrior, and they're a 4/2 with a backside. Their frontside text box reads, when Terra enters, mill 5 cards. Put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. Trance, 4 colorless, red-green as a cost, and tap. Exile Terra, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. And to be clear, we will most likely only be talking about the front side, but let's read the back. Terra then transforms into Esper Terra. Create a token that's a copy of a target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. This will happen 3 times. On the 4th counter, add colorless, add double Wooburg, exile Esper Terra, then return it to the battlefield, front face up. And on the backside, they are a legendary enchantment creature, Saga Wizard, and a 6/6. Get ready to be terrorized by the new best 5-color food chain commander. Someone go check on Cam and Dylan, they may be already having a heart attack. Out of pure excitement, food chain will absolutely win games with this commander, as there are so many ways to 1, get food chain, abuse food chain, and it is an incredible value engine even without the commander on the board for this deck. So outside of the fact that this is a Wooburg commander, meaning you are packing Thoracle, you are packing the Breach Freeze lines, you will also be packing a very easy win con in the form of food chain. Let me paint you a picture. You're lucky enough to get Terra out on turn 1. It mills 5 cards. Within those cards is Squee the Immortal. And then you get to return food chain to your hand, and whenever you have the mana for it, you may play it, and you may also play Squee the Immortal from the graveyard. A lot of people only remember Squee the Immortal for the fact that it can be played from exile, but he can also be played from graveyard. With infinite mana, you will infinitely re-ETB Terra. Terra will then mill your entire library and give you all of your enchantments back to hand, or at least most of them. You may mill twice at once. Very easily from there are a myriad of ways to win. You will now have Breach in hand. You will also now have the ability to cast Savine's Reclamation from your graveyard targeting Thassa's Oracle without a library. But we're actually seeing something even cooler and safer and extremely mana efficient. The reason I consider this the new best 5-color food chain deck is not just because it can get it from your graveyard for you, not just because it synergizes so well, but because you will now have infinite creature mana to cast Purphoros, God of the Forge. Purphoros reads that whenever a creature enters the battlefield, deal 2 damage to each opponent. That means we can now infinitely ETB Terra or Squee after having cast Purphoros. And oh, how did we get Purphoros in hand? He's an enchantment. He will be returned by Terra when you mill out your deck. That makes this extremely mana efficient and way less messy than the first food sliver chain. You know, first chain food sliver? That's what it's called, right? So the other thing to mention is the fact that Terra only costs 3 mana. Not only that, you can genuinely get value out of milling cards and having it put into your hand. There are niche scenarios where you may want to put a card on top of your library using a top deck tutor, then cast Terra to easily put it into your hand, getting a bit of a 2-for-1. Something important to note though is this doesn't mean you get to loop back cards that have gone to graveyard, such as Mystic Remora. Terra very specifically says, put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. So if your Mystic Remora dies, ETBing Terra will not let you retrieve it. It has to come from your library. I've seen this misplayed many times as I've been playing it, and yes, I was one of them. The point is, I love Wooburg piles, they're fun, and I love a Wooburg pile with an angle. This is fun, this is strong, and it's exciting. It's also beautiful. So if you're any at all interested in a Wooburg deck and you like food chain, I think you found your forever deck. Next on our list is Kefka Court Mage. They cost 2 generic, blue, red, red. They cost 2 generic, blue, black, red. Oh yeah, Grixis baby. They're a legendary creature, human wizard. So many wizards this set. Whenever Kefka enters or attacks, each player discards a card. That includes you. Then you draw a card for each card type amongst cards discarded this way. That means a maximum of 4 and a minimum of 1. And for 8 generic, activate. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent of their choice, transform Kefka, activate only as a sorcery. This means you may not infinitely dump mana into this and have everyone sack everything they own. That was misthought a lot when this card came out. Transform Kefka into Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, a 5/7 flying legendary creature avatar wizard. Whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, you draw that many cards. Now, I want to make this clear. There are many people out there attempting to make the backside of this card have a combo to work. We believe that this is more a bracket 4 strategy, and we will not be talking about the backside of this card anymore for the reference. I do not personally believe that using the backside of this card is in any way efficient or an optimal strategy, and I will not be referencing it anymore. Kefka Court Mage is a very interesting angle for Grixis, and one that you need to commit to fully in order to make it work. On paper, many people saw the value in it. I did not at first. After 10 games with Kefka, I realized you need a screw loose to play it, and if you can do it right, it is destructive. It is solid hand disruption, solid card draw, and especially if you can multiplicatively use blink effects. Yeah, that's right. Displacer Kitten goes bonkers here. Huge stonks on that card right now. It is also just access to one of the strongest color combos in Magic. The idea here is you need to commit to casting Kefka. If you are going out of your way to play this as a regular Grixis pile and your main game plan isn't to cast Kefka as fast as possible, you may as well play Rogsai. There is no reason to play this deck unless your main strategy, the thing you're mulling for, is to be playing Kefka. The idea is that when you enter the battlefield and attack with this card, you are going to constantly disrupt other people's game plans or ability to defend those game plans. I cannot tell you how many times people have said, ah crap, I discarded the land I needed or the color within the land they needed when they discarded to Kefka because they got tired of dealing with the trigger. Kefka being a wizard is even more insanity for this deck because you can double up its triggers with things like Harmonic Prodigy. Pair that with the fact that you have access to Displacer Kitten, there's going to be a lot of people that say, let's see if this actually gets there after they cast Displacer Kitten, and man, you're a fool. That's like saying maybe the Niv Mizzet player won't win once the Ophidian Eye's been flashed in. Yeah, maybe we won't find a spell and find discard removal such as Boseiju, right guys? No, do not let this resolve. Kefka is going to destroy your hand composition and texture, all the while constantly advantage engineering you. But let's go back to the VIVI fact. Let's go back to the contingency of the fact this may get the Winota treatment. After a while, people are going to realize how annoying this is, and they're not going to let it survive to attack. And you're only going to maybe net 2 cards on an ETB after the table all agrees to discard a land at the same time. And there's also the fear that you may be fueling other people's breach. Discarding can be a service to others. And not only that, if you're playing this in a very hardcore way and pushing the narrative that you're going to disrupt the game, you could be targeted unfairly as the aggressor. People could see you as the most annoying, frustrating person to deal with at the table, and your eyes will be on you. So just understand you may need to play up a social angle of a clown. You may need to go full Kefka. You may need to be the court mage, because you're going to have to make some friends while also making the discard. It makes politicking a little awkward. It's a strategy that can be disrupted. I think it's really good. It's played strong for me so far, but I also play really strong into politics when I play Commander. Not just CEDH, just Commander in general. So be wary of that fact. Enjoy going nuts with this and have fun making people cry. Next up, we have the Wandering Minstrel. I'm very excited to talk about this deck. His casting cost is green-blue. He's a legendary creature, human bard, 1/3. And his first line of text, which is so exciting for so many reasons, is lands you control enter untapped. The Minstrel's Ballad. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 5 or more towns, create a 2/2 elemental creature that's all colors. And for 3 generic Wooburg, activate. Each creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of towns you control. Let's go back to that first line, and I'm going to tell you some awesome tech. Lands you control enter untapped. There are so many ways to abuse this, one of which being Root Maze. That's right. Let everyone else's lands come in tapped, and if they're fetches, watch them cry, and you get to go to town. Due to the fact that these are 2 layered effects and you get to due to the fact that these are 2 replacement effects and you get to choose how it's layered. And one of my favorite ways to abuse this, Aftermath Analyst. The idea is that you can mill your entire library with Hermit Druid, activate and sack Aftermath Analyst, and you just got every land in your deck untapped. From there, you use Shifting Woodlands to copy Breach in your yard, and then cast Thassa's Oracle. And guess what? My version of this deck actually uses the infinite mana sink. There is one good town. It's Starting Town. This land enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game, and for 1 life, you can get any color. Now, yes, your lands already come in untapped, but that's only if you have your commander out. I don't want to be stuck with lands that come in tapped constantly. I've seen many people build this deck, and every single land in the deck would come in tapped. You cannot have that many in this deck. You don't have him out yet. I've watched so many people mulligan and goldfish this deck, realizing that in their opening 7, every land would come in tapped. You can't abuse this. Well, you can, just in moderation. But guys, we're not at the most exciting part of this. Please tell me one of you is already screaming at me, you get to play Lurrus! Yes, we have the new best 5-color kitty cat combo. At this point, I'd like to take a moment and remind you the fact my name is Defcat. I may have a slight obsession with Lurrus. I may have 10 artist proofs in my hand for those of you that don't have the video on right now. I love playing Lurrus. Lurrus plays in so well with so many portions of this deck. A lot of the effects that you would be doing in this Wooburg pile deck is milling into your graveyard so you can get lands back, and as a result, often you find there's a lot of smaller cards that you really want to get back. Lurrus makes that so strong and possible. Now you can play up a Lurrus angle with this deck that you can sit back and kind of play this mid-rangey game plan while accruing value through Lurrus and different untapped effects. And specifically, we get to play every single Surveil land with Lurrus. I can't tell you how much that ended up coming up in my games. It was free card draw at that point. I had access to every card that went into the yard that was a permanent. So often, if I had a Dark Ritual in hand at the beginning of the game, my turn 1 was land Dark Ritual, put Lurrus into my hand. I could go on and on about this commander, so for those that want to delve even deeper into all the different combos and ways to abuse having Lurrus and it being Wooburg and the untapped effects, again, there are Decktechs in the description below. Next up is Noctis, Prince of Lucas. For a generic white, blue, black, you get a 4/3 legendary creature, Human Noble. Noctis has lifelink. He says you may cast artifact spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that artifact enters with a finality counter on it. A finality counter says when this card would go to your graveyard, exile it instead. And boy, are we going to abuse it and never put a finality counter on things. An Esper list that gets to replay artifacts. Now, I'll tell you what, I have called this deck the new Esper Breach Prince. I am not going to bury the lead again. This deck has an amazing infinite, and it's at instant speed. Now that Gifts Ungiven is out, we can have 2 different piles, but if you cast Intuition or Gifts Ungiven, you can go get a set of cards. That is Aetherflux Reservoir, Mox Diamond, and CEDH Staple R-Style, and CEDH Staple, and CEDH Staple All-Star, Urza's Battlethopter. Yeah, you know, the artifact that's flash and gives all other artifacts flash. Simply flash the Battlethopter onto the battlefield via the pay 3 life through Noctis, flash in Aetherflux Reservoir by paying 3 life, and then flash in Mox Diamond. But guess what? We are not discarding that land. Simply let Mox Diamond go back to your graveyard before Noctis puts a finality counter on it, and you have an infinite cast with Aetherflux, meaning you are infinitely gaining life that you can then fire your lasers at the rest of the table and win the game. What is so cool about this combo is it is all generic mana. That means we are going to be playing a lot of things that give us generic mana in this deck to pull this off. I have angled my list to make sure I get Mana Vault, Grim Monolith, and even Thran Dynamo. Maybe y'all don't want to go that far. I've angled my list that way, because I know if I can gain access to that amount of mana, have my commander out, and find either Intuition or Gifts Ungiven, I now have the fattest 50 caliber bullet in my hand that I can put off at any time over any stack and instantly win the game, and I think that's worth controlling the board for. The idea is that this commander can play an intense control strategy with an intensely good flash combo payoff. So, while controlling the game and limiting others' resources, countering value engines, not just having to wait until they try to win, but making sure they slow down while you continually build up mana, making sure you have access to the mana needed in order to play this line, you could win the game over top of people normally past turn 4. And this having lifelink is no small feat. Being able to continually keep yourself ahead on life in a slower meta where we are dirtling for a while is pretty relevant. And are people really going to be targeting Noctis with their removal? Most likely not. A lot of people are way more afraid of the combo potential that comes out of other cards right now. So slip under the radar, control the game, and get ready to snipe the game away at any point with an instant speed combo win. All while being in Esper. I believe dedicated pilots and people that know how to play the Tivit game plan will be excellent at this deck. It's fun. The character looks so freaking cool. And hey, I get to play Mishra's Bauble. I just like it. I think it's neat. Now, last but not least, and before we move on, yes, this is our last commander that we've tested enough to really tell you guys you should go play it. We know Yashatola exists. We know there's some other commanders out there that you might like to try, but these are the ones after consideration in playing we believe have the best chance. So our last one is Celes Rune Knight. For one generic red, white, black, you get a legendary human wizard knight 4/4. When Celes enters, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards +1. Whenever one or more other creatures you control enter, if one or more of them entered from a graveyard or was cast from graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is the new Mardu Mommy. And I say that with the utmost respect because, oh my goodness, you are going to be able to grind. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. When Celes enters, discard any number of cards is a nutso line of text. You get to sculpt your hand, then draw all those new cards, fuel your own breach, and then, hey, you're in white. You get to play cards that blink. Do it again. Keep going, keep wheeling and dealing with it being asymmetrical. Only you get to. You don't have to wait around and play a bunch of janky wheels that wheel everybody else. No. You get to churn. And what are you looking for while churning? Well, of course you're looking for breach, but what about Grinding Station? Well, my friend, Grinding Station just got its new best friend, Masticore. No, his little brother. Lesser Masticore. The idea here is you will sacrifice Masticore to your Grinding Station. That will mill 3 cards. The persist trigger will happen and Masticore will come back. It will gain +1/+1 counter due to Celes Rune Knight. You'll be able to sacrifice it again to Grinding Station because Grinding Station untaps when it enters, and you will infinitely mill at the table. But did you know that it has a brother? Blasting Station. Sacrifice a creature, Blasting Station deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Whenever creature comes into play, untap Blasting Station. You now have 2 infinites. Offer 3 generic mana. Celes is going to grind through your deck so quickly, fuel breach, have white in it so you can protect these win lines, keep going for it when they're countered, and just absolutely jam. If you were a fan of Mardu Summer, if you have that shirt, you owe it to yourself to play this commander. Celes is about to kick butt at tournaments, and it's going to show that Mardu has the cojones to win. Guys, that wraps it up for what commanders we believe you should play from the Final Fantasy set. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to subscribe and follow for more videos in the future. Playing with Power is very thankful for the time and the commitment that you've given us and your attention, and we love seeing you here. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and we will be seeing you all next week.